Hey, you guys. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about hemodialysis versus peritoneal dialysis. I know a lot of people like to pit them against each other, but the truth of the matter is, I'm going to hold this back from my face, it's a little close. The truth of the matter is, whichever one you choose, hemo versus PD, is based on your needs and what your prescription is. No one to me is better than the other. I see a lot of people like in my comments or inboxing me saying, oh, I do PD, it's better on your heart, it's better on this. And then you got people saying, oh, I do hemo, it's better because it does this, it does that. The truth of the matter is, they all help you, right? But if I'm being 100% honest, over time, doing either one of them is going to cause damage to your heart. It's just about if it's going to be faster or if it's going to be slower. So neither one is better. If you've only done PD and you've never done hemo, you can't say PD is better because you've never done hemo. If you've only done hemo and you've never done PD, you can't say that one is better because you haven't done the other one. I have done both. So I will give you my perspective from both. Now, here's my disclaimer. I will never tell you that what I did was the best way. You should do it because I did. I'm never going to do that. I am coming from the perspective of sharing my experiences with you. I don't want to lead you or sway you into any way in your decisions. I'm just going to share my experiences and what I have experienced personally and what I have seen. So don't never take what I'm saying as gospel, okay? Take everything you hear or see with a grain of salt, and that's just not for me. That's for everybody. Okay, so let's talk about hemo versus PD. Now, I'll give you the pros and cons of both. So I started hemo, like I told you, when I was 14. I had 2 transplants in the midst. I'm 51. I have had probably about 8 to 10 accesses. Maybe 7. I don't know, but I've had a lot of accesses. But I did have one fistula that lasted almost 30 years. And when I tell you that fistula was the greatest. Now, it wasn't pretty. If you look back at that video I made, it wasn't pretty, okay? A couple of guys, when they asked for my phone number and I reached for a pen to write it down, they didn't call me once I saw my arm. So, it wasn't pretty. So, that's that. But I don't care. It was keeping me alive. So on hemo, the biggest thing is fluid control. I know a lot of people cannot control their fluid. You should be drinking no more than 32 ounces a day of fluid if you're not urinating. And you definitely should watch all the food you eat that has fluid, like watermelon, lettuce, fruit. That counts towards your fluid intake too. You can get fluid overloaded very quickly if you do not restrict your fluid. Restricting your fluid helps you in the long run. It helps you if you want to get a transplant because you got to be able to pass a stress test. If your heart's not strong enough to pass a stress test, you won't be eligible for a transplant. B, it helps you with cramps. I can count the time in like over 20 years on one hand that I have cramped. I cramped 5 times or less my whole dialysis time because I always manage my fluid. I have seen people cramping and throwing up. I've never thrown up. I've cramped like if I got out the hospital and I lost weight, and they were trying to find my new dry weight. I have cramped then, but never from fluid restriction. So you gotta keep your fluids. You gotta keep that together, y'all. I'm telling you, because your heart expands and it contracts to hold on to that new fluid. So let me give you an example. So my dry weight is 60, right? Let's say if I get back on dialysis, it will be 62. Okay, so that means I've gained 2 kilos. 1 kilo is 2.2 pounds. I'm saying this, but you guys already know that, right? It's 2.2 pounds. So 2 kilos is basically like I gain a little bit over 4 pounds in a day, right? If you gain more than that, your heart will take it. It will start to expand to accommodate that extra fluid. And then when you go to dialysis, it'll go back. So you have the expansion and the contraction. Well, one day, if you keep gaining too much fluid, your heart starts to lose that elasticity and it doesn't contract as well as it did before. And that's the beginning stages of congestive heart failure. So you really want to watch it. That's why you need to watch your fluid. If nobody else explained to you why, that's why. Now on PD, you can be a little bit more liberal with your fluid intake because you're doing it every day. So you can get, and someone asked me if on PD, if it will pull. Yes, it will pull. It will pull. And they have different color solutions that you use to help pull if you're having difficulties. I don't gain a lot. Like I told you, I'm 60 kilos. I might be 61 or maybe 62 when I dialyze again tonight. So my struggle is, part of me wants to still control fluid. Even though I'm on PD, I'm struggling with drinking more. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm struggling with being able to drink more fluid. So that's my struggle. So I got a little refrigerator in my room. I wake up and I just start like drinking immediately so I could start to get the fluid in. And if I go somewhere, like I'm about to step out in a minute, I'm going to get like a cup of ice and fill it with fluid so I could drink while I'm driving, just so I don't like go out and I'm shopping and I forget to drink. And then when I get off the machine, my blood pressure ends up being like 99/68 because I didn't drink enough. So, but even at 99/68, that's a good blood pressure for me because when I was on hemo, I operated at 99/60 for like 4 years. That was my blood pressure until I got a transplant. I don't know. My body just adjusted to it. So, also on PD, you can eat more. Okay. So you can be a lot more liberal with the type of foods you eat. But one thing I've noticed on PD is the PD machine does not clean out that phosphorus like hemo does. Hemo, if you find out your phosphorus is high, you could like double up on your binders and go have a couple of dialysis treatments and it'll flush that phosphorus down to 3. But PD does not move as fast. So you really gotta actually watch your phosphorus and pop those binders like as you're eating, not after you get through. Hemo, you probably could take your binders after you get through eating. PD, you gotta like eat a couple of bites and take your binders as you're eating to bind the food while you're eating. That's something new that I have learned. So if you're gonna drink a Pepsi, which I really stopped drinking now that I'm on PD, but if you're gonna drink a Pepsi, you would have to like take 2, drink some Pepsi, take 2 more, drink some Pepsi, take 2 more. Like, it's almost like you gotta like bind it while you're consuming it, which makes it not fun to consume. So that's my personal struggle. Pepsi was my personal struggle, so I gave it up. Also on hemo, I had a real big problem with potassium. But now on PD, like my potassium is always low. It's like in the 3s. So they tell me I could consume more potassium. But, you know, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around the things that I could do now that I could not do. Now, another big thing is working. Like for me, I've always worked. Even though I'm on dialysis, I've always worked. I only went on disability like when I was in college, when I first graduated from high school. But I've always worked. I got my first job at 15 and I never stopped. I went to college. I got my degree. I started my career. I taught. I retired from teaching in May, but now I'm working for the city of LA. So I'm still working. I retired from one job, not to sit at home and get disability. No, we're not doing that. But I'm still working somewhere else. So the thing about PD and working, like if I was teaching, I don't know if PD would have worked, because it depends on your prescription. So mine is 9 hours. So I got to do it for 9 hours, but Nobody gets 9 hours of sleep. Okay, I get 5 or 6 hours. So that means you have to get in the bed earlier than you would have so you can get off and go to work, right? So let me give you an example. I have to be at work at 7 and I get off at 3:30. So I have to be on the machine by 8 p.m. so that I can get off in time to go to work. But 2 days I go into the office and 3 I work from home. So, it's manageable. But if I worked from home all 5 days, I wouldn't have to get on the machine until 10 o'clock. And then I can get off and then, go to work. So it works that way. I guess if you're not working, you would choose not to do the cycler and you would just do manual treatments all day. But I mean, if you're at a job, how are you going to be doing manual treatments? Like as a teacher, I can't stop teaching my kids and go and fill my abdomen up with fluid 3 times a day. It wasn't conducive to my teaching environment. And even now, working in an office, manual treatments aren't going to work. I'm not going to be going to my car, filling up my abdomen, putting on a mask. That's not what I'm going to do. Now, if you're not working and you want to do manuals all day and sit at home, then, that probably works for you, but not for me. So that's why I choose doing the cycler at night while I sleep, because it just fits better with my, with my schedule. Also, PD is better, they say, because it's slower and it's more natural. That's what they say. But hemo, they say, now I'm saying they say because, we only know, God only knows what's going on the inside, right? And you have to judge by how you feel. So hemo, they say, because it's high flux, that it is more damaging to the heart. That's what they say. But I don't know. I did hemo for a long time and I passed every stress test. The only reason why I'm not running towards my 3rd transplant is because I put it on hold, not because I wasn't eligible. But a big part of that was my fluid control. Big part of that was my fluid restriction. So, and then also, what else do I want to say? That's it. So that's how I feel about PD versus hemo. Nobody can tell you which one is the best for you. Only you can tell you which one is the best for you. And kudos to people who are doing their research. I have a lot of people that are sending me messages or you're commenting, telling me what your GFR is and what stages you're in. Kudos to you guys for being proactive and just getting out there and seeing what information is available before you have to actually get on the machine. Kudos to you for that, because a lot of people are reactive. They wait till it's too late and then they try to get information. Me personally, my kidneys shut down in less than 2 weeks. I went from 0 to stage 5. I didn't even know it was stages, okay? I found out what the stages were maybe 3 years after I was on dialysis. I had no idea it was stages. I thought your kidneys just died and you ended up on dialysis. So for me personally, PD was not an option in the beginning because I was like super sick. My creatinine was in the high double digits. So there was no way I was going to be able to do PD because it's too slow. I probably would have died if I would have tried to start PD. I needed like hemo right away. So my body made the choice. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you don't get to make the choice. I woke up from a 2-week coma in ICU and the catheter was already in my chest. I didn't even know what dialysis was. I still got the scar. That's the scar right there. So if you can do research and if you can learn about it and, get experiences from people, I'm going to try to share with you everything I know, not to sway you into doing what I do, but just to give you information on what's possible and what's out there. So if you want to learn learn more about something, you can drop it in the comments and let me know. I was thinking my next video will probably be on like fluid control and giving you some examples of how you can measure it. If that's something you want to see, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Or if you want to know about something else, drop it in the comments. Be blessed. Have a good day. Remember, dialysis is a pain in the ass, but you don't have to be. I'll talk to you later. Bye.